Hi, this is Dan Bullard, retired electronics engineer, sitting on the front of my house plug-in. I want to tell you about a really funny comment I got on my op-amp video. A lot of you are here because of my op-amp video. I have almost 7,000 subscribers now. That op-amp video is huge, and I did that for my friend Martha, who was trying to apply for a job in Reno, Nevada. In GE, she got the job thanks to me making the video. It's got 477,000 views and 8,200 likes. So it's a pretty popular video. In fact, it's one of the top videos on op-amps. The rest of them are just horrible. Most of the comments on there are really good. Like this one, my 4 years in engineering school could not make me understand what you did. Thanks for this wonderful content. So, I mean, a lot of people are very appreciative, and I think that's great. I think, you know, it's something that my boss at TTC, Technical Training Center, came up with a way to teach people about how our op-amps work. And it's really simplistic. We would teach people how op-amps work in like week 6 or something. We never talked about transistors until like week 20, you know, or 30. So we didn't have to do any of this stuff with transistors. Op-amps are easy to understand without talking about the transistors. But some people are not up to even transistors or resistors even. So this guy commented, "Someone help me understand, at 228 there is 1 volt at the switch. But if we follow the rule of no current goes into or out of the op-amp, how is there 1 volt at the non-inverting terminal when E equals I times R? If I is equal to 0, then E equals 0 times 1K or 0. That's wrong. And that's so easy to explain. And I couldn't believe I had to deal with this guy. So let's take a look at the circuit. We have a voltage divider. I wasn't sure what he didn't understand about this, so I had to explain the voltage divider because, believe it or not, some people don't understand how a voltage divider works. So if you don't understand a voltage divider, you don't have any business looking at anything with electronics. So we go 3 volts, we have 3 1K resistors, and we go to ground. So there's 1 milliamp flowing through the R1, 1 milliamp flowing through R2, 1 milliamp flowing through R3. And so we have 3 volts on the top tap, 2 volts on the middle tap, 1 volt on the bottom tap. How do we know that there's no current flowing into the op-amp? Because I said so. Now, there might be a few nanoamps. So how much voltage is a nanoamp going to drop? Virtually nothing. So there's very little current flowing into the op-amp. We can ignore, especially when the resistors are like 1K, you can ignore 1 nanoamp or even 1 microamp. You can ignore that. So we don't have any current flowing into the op-amp, maybe a tiny bit, but not enough to worry about. So why is there 1 volt on the positive input of the op-amp? On the positive input, the non-inverting input, there's no current flowing through the 1K, R4. So why is there 1 volt there? Because we have 1 volt on the other side, and since there's 0 current, unlike our person who came up with this comment, there's 0 current flowing through that 1K, so there's no voltage drop across it. Not no voltage drop on the other side of it. There's no voltage drop across it. So with 0 current flowing through a 1K, you have 1 volt on one side of the resistor, you have 1 volt on the other side of the resistor. I mean, just because there's no current flowing doesn't mean there's 0 volts on the other side of the resistor. If that were true, if there was 0 volts on the other side of the resistor, that would imply there's 1 milliamp flowing through it. 1 volt, 1K, 1 milliamp. But we know there's not 1 milliamp flowing into the op-amp. So this guy's comment is way out of line. It took me a long time to figure out what the fuck he was talking about. I mean, how could you be so stupid? Now, this is a really easy circuit to understand. Not infinitely easy, but pretty easy. It's not a follower. Follower is really easy, but this one's pretty easy. And let's look at the bottom. The inverting input, you have 1 volt, that's my rule. So you have 1 volt on positive input, you have 1 volt on negative input. And so there's no current flowing through R5, period. Now because there's no current flowing through R5, we know there's no voltage drop across R5. So that means that the junction between R5 and R6 must be 1 volt, guaranteed. This is how you solve these problems. You can't do it by guessing. It's really awful. So I run into these people all the time, and I'm trying to cover harmonics, and oh God, this guy's a Tony. This guy is a Tony. He doesn't understand the first thing about electronics. Now, I would say, get the fuck off of YouTube. Go learn how to knit or something, you know. You're not going to get anywhere with electronics. And then he claims, oh, I know what a voltage divider does. Oh yeah, really? How can you know how a voltage divider works if you believe that there's 0 volts on the non-inverting input of the op amp with 1 volt on the other side of that resistor? There cannot be 0 volts on the non-inverting input of the op amp, period. Anyway, it's a beautiful Sunday. I'm going to go ahead and get going. So, once again, from the river, this is Dan Bullard. See ya.